provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant post on LinkedIn about account-based marketing in CW 8 and 9. Frennis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI. This edition is brought to you by our partners B2B Marketing and SPOTONVISION B2B Marketing Agency. Don't miss their conference, the European ABM Forum, on 26 March 2026. Find the link to conference in the description below.
So with that official welcome out of the way, let's jump straight into what we're doing today.
Yeah, let's do it.
We are dedicating this entire deep dive to the absolute most critical account-based marketing trends that we've seen surfacing across LinkedIn over the last 2 weeks.
Specifically calendar weeks 8 and 9.
Right, of 2026. And there's a lot of ground to cover.
There really is. And if you're joining us today, we are framing this conversation as a fast-paced, high-value masterclass specifically for you.
Yeah, for the B2B marketing professional who, frankly, just wants to cut through all the noise.
Exactly. We are completely bypassing the basic definitions here. We're going to look exactly at how the best teams are executing ABM right now. In the trenches. No fluff.
And to keep things actionable, we've synthesized all these community insights into 3 core themes.
Right.
First, we'll look at ABM as your core go-to-market operating model.
Which is huge right now.
It is. Second, we'll dive into signal-driven and intent-led execution. And finally, we'll explore AI as a structural enabler.
Yeah, rather than just some lazy shortcut.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this with our first theme, ABM as the core GTM operating model. Because what's incredibly clear from the recent discussions is that ABM is absolutely no longer just this temporary campaign tactic you run for a quarter.
Right, and then just abandon it when it gets hard.
Exactly. Davis Potter made a really compelling point recently that ABM and broad demand generation have essentially converged.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's now becoming your baseline account investment strategy. The most successful organizations out there aren't keeping ABM in a silo anymore.
No, they're actually reintegrating their standalone ABM teams back into their broader demand gen and regional marketing teams.
To deploy those principles across the board.
Which is a fundamental shift in how we think about marketing budgets, really. Aaron Carpenter elaborated on this perfectly. He threw out what might be a hot take for some.
Oh yeah, his post definitely stirred things up.
It did. He argues that ABM actually isn't innovative at all.
Right.
It's simply how marketing should have always worked. I mean, for years, B2B teams ran these massive, untargeted spray and pray campaigns.
And they'd celebrate like a 2% conversion rate.
Exactly, completely ignoring the fact that they were essentially training the other 98% of their market to just ignore their email.
To just send them straight to spam.
Right. So the directive he highlighted is to stop running isolated campaigns and start orchestrating continuous experiences for the accounts that actually matter.
But orchestrating those experiences seems to be where things completely fall apart for most companies.
Well, for sure.
Like, what happens when marketing and sales aren't actually on the same page about who those accounts even are?
Then the whole model collapses. Katia Nunes pointed this out clearly. She noted that ABM doesn't fail because you bought the wrong software.
Or because you lack the right intent tools.
Right. It fails because marketing and sales aren't aligned on what they're measuring.
And what happens after a prospect actually engages.
Precisely. And Brent Keltner broke down how to fix this disconnect by sharing a really smart strategy from Caitlin Cricco. She argues that ABM only works when sales and marketing launch together simultaneously.
Meaning marketing can't just, spike engagement, hand over a spreadsheet of leads, and wash their hands of it.
Exactly. They have to start with a shared ABM brief before a single ad dollar is spent. Target accounts, specific segments, shared goals, all of it has to be mapped out in actual revenue terms.
It can't just be about generating MQLs.
No, because those basic marketing qualified leads look great on a marketing dashboard, but they never actually convert to pipeline for sales.
Right. They're vanity metrics.
Yeah. And instead of creating static buyer personas, Caitlin's strategy requires teams to turn those personas into actual value pathways.
Value pathways, right.
For every single role in the buying committee, you align on their specific business problem, the outcome you provide, and the proof points you'll use. So when the sales rep eventually reaches out,
they're seamlessly continuing the exact narrative that marketing already started.
Exactly. It's one continuous conversation.
I want to pause on that disconnect between marketing and sales for a second, because it feels like an age-old problem. Like, why is it so incredibly hard for teams to just share a goal?
What's fascinating here is how Enrico Brosio diagnosed the root cause of this alignment issue. He calls it the GTM reset.
Okay.
He points out that 20 years ago, before all the massive tech stacks, B2B sales was inherently account-centric.
Sure, rep researched the company, picked up the phone, and built relationships.
Right. But then modern marketing automation platforms came along, and they were fundamentally built around the lead object, the individual person, not the account as a whole.
So the technology itself trained us to look at individuals instead of the whole company.
Exactly. The underlying architecture of these CRM systems forced teams to optimize for what the software could easily measure.
Which was individual leads.
Yeah. So today, the B2B sales crisis stems directly from that legacy lead-centric CRM architecture. Companies have spent millions bolting modern intent platforms onto their old CRMs.
Without actually changing the underlying data model.
Or the incentive structures. Enrico argues you have to change the incentive structure first. You have to move away from compensating teams just for the volume of leads created, or an account-centric approach will never actually stick.
Wow. So if you're listening to this and you want to fix that foundation, let's say you want to completely change your ideal customer profile, your ICP, to focus only on high-value accounts. How painful of a transition is that?
If you aren't prepared, it is brutal. Nick Turner offered a stark reality check for anyone thinking about changing their ICP.
It's not a quick fix.
No, he warned that updating your target customer isn't just a messaging tweak you hand to marketing on a Friday afternoon. It is a full business reset.
What does that timeline actually look like in reality?
He stressed that a real ICP transition takes 6 to 12 months, and he painted a very realistic picture. Your pipeline will actually look perfectly fine at first because it's still full of old ICP deals.
Right.
But most of those deals will quietly die within 60 days because they no longer fit your product's direction. Meanwhile, your marketing team is scrambling to rebuild messaging for a new buyer they barely understand yet.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
It is. It requires a realistic timeline, honest expectations, and every single team leader in the room before the decision is even made.
But do we have any proof that doing this hard foundational work actually pays off when things go wrong? Like, does it save deals?
We do. Vinita Makhija shared a brilliant story about this. She was talking about a major global capability center deal, a GCC deal.
Okay, so a massive enterprise building an offshore corporate hub. Huge contract.
Massive. This talent solutions company was 12 months deep into negotiating this deal when their key champion, the main decision maker, suddenly left the company.
Oh, wow. Usually if your internal champion leaves, that deal is dead in the water. All the momentum is just gone.
You'd think so. And in a traditional sales model, it absolutely is. But this deal survived.
Really?
Yeah, and it didn't survive because of a single charismatic sales rep. It survived because their ABM strategy had built genuine, documented value across the entire buying committee.
Because they had mapped those value pathways we talked about earlier.
Exactly. So the narrative held strong even through a major stakeholder exit. It proves that careful account selection isn't just a spreadsheet exercise. It's a massive strategic bet that protects your revenue.
So if we accept that account selection is a strategic bet, the obvious next question is, how do you actually know when to place that bet?
Right.
How do you know when an account is ready to buy before your competitors do? Which perfectly transitions us into our second theme, signal-driven and intent-led execution.
Let's start with a major trap that a lot of teams fall into here. David Fortino and Kaylee Edmondson highlighted the danger of relying on commoditized intent data.
The stuff everyone buys.
Exactly. Right now, there are countless vendors promising predictive signals, but they are all essentially fishing from the exact same pond.
Meaning they're all selling the same underlying data.
Yes. They're scraping the same behavioral exhaust things, like someone downloading a white paper or visiting a software review site.
Right.
If you and all your competitors are buying the exact same data, and the only difference is that your vendor has a slightly prettier user interface.
You have absolutely no real advantage.
None. Your sales rep is calling the prospect at the exact same moment your competitor's rep is calling them.
Okay, so if buying the standard intent data is a trap, what's the alternative? How are the best teams actually finding these hidden buyers?
This is where teams are getting incredibly creative. Nicholas Sternberg has and Miguel Sosa shared a brilliant tactic using job postings as hidden buying signals.
Oh, that's smart.
Miguel explained that job postings often tell you exactly when a company is experiencing the specific problem your product solves.
Wait, like trying to sell software to the HR person posting the job?
No, not selling to HR. Using the public job description to diagnose the company's internal chaos.
No, I see.
If a target account is suddenly hiring a project manager, That isn't just routine headcount growth. As Nicholas pointed out, it's very often a desperate signal of disorganized workflows.
So it's a disguised buy signal for workflow automation software.
Exactly. Miguel actually automates this process by using a data enrichment tool called Clay. He uses it to scrape his target accounts for specific job titles, which automatically triggers workflows to find the real decision maker.
Enrich their contact data and push it directly to a sales sequencer.
Yeah, seamlessly.
That is incredibly clever.
Yeah.
You are completely bypassing the standard intent platforms and just reading the breadcrumbs they're leaving in public.
And we're only scratching the surface of what's possible there. Ishan Manchanda shared an observation from Divyansh Kulshrestha that really puts this into perspective. Most B2B teams track maybe 8 to 12 standard intent signals.
The basic stuff.
Right. But Divyansh actually documented 127 capturable signals across 20 different categories.
127 signals. I have to imagine most teams are missing the vast majority of those.
They're missing 90% of the buying signals their target accounts are sending every single day. We're talking about nuanced signals like a VP of data at a target account liking your competitor's LinkedIn post.
Wow, yeah.
Or tracking a churned customer's chief technology officer who just started a new job at one of your target accounts.
That is such a strong signal.
It is. Or an engineering lead asking a highly specific technical question on an open source forum like GitHub. If you aren't catching those deeply contextual moments, you are leaving massive pipeline on the table.
But hold on, how is a team supposed to manage 127 signals without drowning in notifications? Like, if I'm a sales rep and my Slack is pinging 100 times a day with every minor movement an account makes.
You're just going to mute the channel?
Exactly. I'm going to mute it and ignore it.
That is the exact problem Katie Penner from Influ2 brought up. She leads sales development there, and they source 80% of their pipeline from their own proprietary signals.
Okay, so they know what they're doing.
Definitely. Her biggest insight is that intent at the account level is just noise if you don't have person-level visibility.
Because at the end of the day, a company logo doesn't sign a contract. A person does.
Exactly. If your ABM platform just flashes a red light and says Acme Corp is showing high intent, your sales team ends up calling into the dark, guessing who to talk to.
Which is super inefficient.
Katie argues you need to see the specifics. You need to know that the VP of marketing at Acme Corp is engaging with your pricing page, while a director at the same account is actively searching a competitor's terms.
And a new hire just posted about this specific topic publicly.
Right. When you know exactly who is moving and what they care about, the outreach isn't a cold pitch. It's a highly contextual conversation.
Speaking of cold pitches, are all of these signals usually coming from completely cold net new accounts?
Not at all, and that's a huge blind spot. Tyler Pleiss revealed a surprising twist regarding where the highest intent actually lives.
Where is it?
Well, he noted that many teams spend 90% of their energy and budget chasing completely cold accounts. Meanwhile, their warmest, highest intent prospects are sitting right in their CRM, completely ignored.
Simply because they're labeled closed lost?
Yes.
Wow. So they evaluated the product, didn't buy for whatever reason, and marketing just never looks at them again.
Pretty much. These are accounts that already raised their hand, sat through a demo, and shared their real, raw business pain with your sales team.
Maybe the timing was wrong or the budget got frozen.
Exactly. Tyler actually built a 7-figure ABM pipeline simply by flipping that standard assumption and prioritizing those overlooked, previously engaged accounts when they started showing new signals.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let's say you do all of this perfectly. You monitor the job boards, you capture the hidden signals, you know exactly who the person is.
Right.
Josh Wheel, building on some great insights from Yulia Olenikova, pointed out that catching the signal is really just the starting gun.
The easy part, almost.
Yeah. Everyone in B2B is obsessed with getting more intent data and setting up more triggers, but there is a shocking lack of enthusiasm about what to actually do next.
The actual execution phase.
Right. If you don't have a rigid playbook for what to do after the signal fires, who owns the next step, what the specific messaging should be, what content is already approved and ready to run.
And that brilliant signal just becomes background noise.
Or worse, it turns into a badly timed generic pitch from a rep who doesn't have the context. The core for leaders can't just be, do we have enough signals? It has to be, what is our exact protocol when one arrives?
Which naturally leads us into how teams are actually executing those protocols at scale. And that brings us to our third and final theme, AI as a structural enabler, not a shortcut.
Because this level of execution sounds incredibly manual, right?
Yeah. Without AI, it would be.
AI is exactly what is allowing teams to build these complex playbooks without needing an army of researchers. But there's a right way and a very, very wrong way to use it.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's start with the wrong way, so we know what to avoid. Ganesh Chittambalam AS made it crystal clear. AI shouldn't just be a glorified tool for advanced mail merge.
If you're just using ChatGPT to swap a first name and a company name and an email template, you are completely missing the point.
Right, he argues that's not ABM personalization. True ABM means every single touch point should feel like it was custom designed for the specific realities of that account.
Exactly.
He shared a great example of a logistics client to prove this.
Yeah.
They didn't just change the names in an email. They used AI to personalize ad creatives and landing pages for 6,000 different accounts.
6,000? That's incredible scale.
And they based that personalization on each account's specific geographic region, their unique shipping volume charges, and local regulatory requirements. That level of bespoke relevance is the new bar for AI personalization.
It's about depth of insight, not just the scale of outreach. And John Peslar shared an incredible use case for achieving that depth during the research phase.
Okay, doing.
He's been using the new ChatGPT Deep Research 2.0 update. But he isn't just typing in a prompt and letting it roam free across the internet. We all know that usually leads to hallucinations and really generic summaries.
The classic AI problem, garbage in, garbage out. So how does he constrain it?
He uses what he calls editable research plans to force the AI to ignore the generic marketing noise on a company's website. He fed the AI a list of 200 target accounts.
Okay.
But he strictly restricted it to scanning only their technical developer documentation and their quarterly earnings reports.
That is brilliant.
Because of those constraints, it executed perfectly without hallucinating. It mapped out competitor weaknesses, identified exactly where their SEO strategy was failing, found customer complaints buried in forums.
And even mapped the exact call to action placements on their landing pages.
Exactly. It exported all of this into a clean Word document. It essentially replaces the entire Friday afternoon manual research grind for a sales team.
I love that use case. But that really covers the desk research side. What about the sales reps who are actually out in the physical world?
Right, the field reps.
Picture a field sales rep for a moment. They're driving from industrial park to industrial park, visiting 5 or 6 different locations a day. They are definitely not pulling over on the side of the highway, tethering their laptop to their phone, and logging into a CRM to check the latest marketing notes.
Which means all of that rich intent data and context we just talked about sits in a database, completely unused by the person who actually needs it most.
Exactly. So to solve this exact pain point, Timur Tariq built a voice AI agent using 11 Labs, which is an advanced voice generation AI.
Okay.
Now, a rep can literally just dial a phone number from their car's Bluetooth and say, brief me on geranium core.
Just like talking to a person?
Exactly. Within seconds, the AI pulls all the relevant data from their HubSpot CRM and delivers the account owner's name, the status of open deals, how many days it's been since the last touch point, and specific talking points right over the phone like a human assistant.
That is wild.
And even better, after the physical meeting is over, the rep can just say, log a note that they are concerned about pricing, or create a follow-up task for next Tuesday. And the AI writes it directly back into HubSpot. It turns all that enriched data into an invisible, actionable tool for the field.
That is the perfect example of AI removing friction from the process. And we're seeing that removal of friction across the entire go-to-market engineering stack. Maja pointed out how incredibly fast it has become to build these systems.
Yeah, the speed is unprecedented.
She built an entire functional ABM program using Swan AI in under 10 minutes, using nothing but conversational chat prompts.
No coding required.
She didn't write any code. She didn't need a senior developer. She just uploaded a target account list and used natural language to build a hiring signal monitor that automatically notifies her via Slack and drafts a personalized outreach message for her to approve.
And it scales to the heavy lifting of content creation, too. Michelle Lim shared a brilliant case study about a healthcare AI company called Amigo.
I read about this one.
Yeah, they needed highly tailored landing pages for a vertical-specific campaign, and they needed them urgently, but they completely lacked the internal design and engineering bandwidth to pull it off.
So what did they do?
By uploading their main website URL and a simple spreadsheet of their target accounts into a tool called Flint AI, they generated 341 highly personalized, vertical-specific ABM landing pages in just 5 minutes.
341 pages in 5 minutes. That is insane.
That saved them roughly 10 hours of manual coding per page, and it drove high-quality inbound leads within 24 hours of launching.
If we connect all of these examples to the bigger picture, it really redefines what ABM looks like today. Nick Bennett and Vincent Plastard from User-Led both touched on this synthesis beautifully. Nick noted that the core philosophy of ABM was never actually broken.
It was just our execution that was broken.
Exactly, because it relied heavily on human guesswork and mind-numbing manual research.
Right. The concepts of targeting high-value accounts with personalized messages were always sound. We just didn't have the hours and day to actually do it.
Exactly. And Vincent added the crucial caveat that ABM in 2026 isn't about letting AI generate all your content so you can just click send all and walk away.
No, that's entirely missing the point of velocity.
AI isn't fixing ABM by taking over the human element. It's fixing it by removing the manual grind. It allows your ABM motions to run at the exact same velocity as your buyer's decision cycles.
So it's a partnership.
Yeah, ABM is infinitely faster with AI, but it only truly wins when humans remain in the loop, constantly tightening that connection between a digital signal and the highly contextual human action that follows it.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
From resetting your foundational go-to-market operating model to finally align sales and marketing.
To capturing the 90% of hidden buying signals your competitors are ignoring.
To deploying AI as a surgical tool to execute account-specific plays at a speed that was literally impossible even 2 years ago.
It leads to a final thought I want to leave you with, something for you to really mull over as you evaluate your own strategies this quarter.
Let's hear it.
For years, marketing leaders rightfully blamed poor ABM execution on a lack of sophisticated tools, a lack of clean data, or simply a lack of human bandwidth to do the manual research required.
Which were all very valid excuses at the time.
They were. But today, AI has completely solved the infrastructure and scale problems. Predictive intent data is everywhere. The historical friction is completely gone.
So there are no more excuses.
Exactly. With all those barriers removed, the only thing left that determines your success or failure is the actual quality of your narrative and the true cultural alignment between your teams. If your ABM strategy fails now, it is a mindset problem, not a technology problem.
If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also check out our other editions on field marketing, channel and partner marketing, AI and B2B, MarTech, go-to-market, and social selling. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of ABM. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one.